Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Peering and I'm a second year pre-human biology and society major at UCLA and currently on the pre-med path. In this video, I will be describing my experience as a medical intern in the Dominican Republic in high school. I'll be going over what I gained from that experience, the opportunities I got, what I learned, but also why I think this was so important when I was applying to colleges, and why I really think it was one of the extracurriculars that made me stand out amongst other applicants. I'll be covering especially how you can gain a similar experience, but more importantly, how you can showcase that experience in your application to really make you unique and showcase your individuality. I think this is really important if you're thinking about being pre-med or wanting to pursue a career in the medical field. Having these experiences in high school can really set you apart. So stick around to watch this video to find out more about medical internships, especially those abroad, and how you can use those to your advantage. Let's get started by talking about my experience as a medical intern in the Dominican Republic. So the summer before my senior year of high school, the summer after my junior year, I was able to go to the Dominican as a medical intern through a program called Gap Medics. And this program really allowed me an immersive experience into the hospital setting, into a healthcare system that was different than the United States. I got to interact daily with patients and shadow doctors for most of the day, and this really gave me a very good idea of what a day in the life of a physician was, and really a good indicator if this was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life as a career. I think it was really important to me that on this trip I figured out if my goal really was to be pre-med, and I determined it was. So in my scrubs in the hospital, I got to observe so many surgeries. I got to observe hysterectomies, C-sections, amputations, just a plethora of different surgical procedures that really allowed me an inside scoop really onto what a doctor's day is like, and such an educational experience because unlike, studying that in class, you really got to see it in person, in live, right in front of you, which was so cool. And I think this is one of the main reasons why I was so passionate coming home that I really wanted to pursue a career in the medical field. So this opportunity really allowed me to have a diverse experience within the hospital. I got to shadow in the pediatric ward, I got to shadow in the maternity ward, and also just general family medicine. So we got to really see the whole hospital, and then within the last few weeks we got to pick one specialty that we wanted to stick with. So I stuck with pediatrics because I do want to be a pediatrician when I grew up, and that really allowed me to have a great insight on hopefully my future career. So not only on this medical internship was I able to, practice some clinical skills through some workshops they had, whether that be suturing or taking vitals or drawing blood, and they also, allowed us to see doctors interacting with patients, patient diagnosis skills, things like that. But I also got to, foster deeper connections around me by practicing other skills that I necessarily wouldn't have thought I was since I was abroad in the Dominican. So one of these was speaking Spanish. So I had taken Spanish all throughout high school, even in middle school, but I was never really comfortable with my speaking. I think I was a little bit embarrassed and I was far from fluent. So during this trip, I really got to immerse myself in a different culture as well, being abroad. And so that meant speaking to a lot of the patients in Spanish. And this allowed me to practice my Spanish in a way that I would never have been able to if I was still in the US or something like that, because it was on a day-to-day basis that I was using these skills, and I really got to interact with patients on a deeper level because I could communicate with them better if I practiced Spanish. So I think this was an amazing way of, allowing myself to practice this skill that I had that I wasn't comfortable using. Now that you've had an overview about what my experience was, let's go more in depth about what I learned and what I got to experience as a medical intern. So like I said before, I was in the hospital the majority of the day, interacting with patients, interacting with the physicians. And these physicians that I was able to really connect with and foster a deeper relationship with during my time there have now become really great mentors and resources for me through my pre-med journey. I mean, some of them I still keep in touch with today, and it's been a couple years now since I've gone to the Dominican. So this was a really good experience and good example of how these connections can really aid you in life, really, not just the college application process. So throughout the day, our day was pretty structured in that we went on rounds in the morning, and then we were able to observe whatever surgeries we wanted in the afternoon. So because of this, I was able to see so many different kinds of surgical operations from a variety of specialties. So seeing these procedures and being able to really have such a hands-on experience was really crucial to me because I wanted to see if this was what I wanted to do. And also, it made it so much easier to write my essays and my Common App because it allowed me to have a really good insight into what it was that a doctor did every single day. Also, this program offered different clinical workshops. So while we were in the hospital, like I said before, we got to learn how to take vitals, how to suture, how to draw blood. And these are really good skills because when you're going into the medical field, these are hard skills to pick up really, but they're, the basics. So having that background knowledge, I think, has really helped me, and it's something that I can now put on my resume that I know how to do these things. And some of my fellow interns in the Dominican also have gone on to become EMTs and stuff like that. So this is a great foundational basis if you're pre-med to have these hands-on clinical skills and experiences with different techniques. I really can't reiterate or emphasize enough how amazing this opportunity can be for a high school student, because in your application, a lot of different students might have very similar extracurriculars like volunteering or different things like that. But being able to say that you were able to shadow in a hospital and really get that clinical techniques and those clinical skills are really going to set you apart and make you different when you're going to apply to college. So not only was I able to shadow in the hospital, but also since one of the doctors I was working very directly with was working in the local Department of Public Health in the city, La Romana, which is the city I was in the Dominican, I also got a shadow within the public health sphere. And this really gave me a unique insight for global health, for public health, and how it works in a different country. Because the Dominican has such a different healthcare system than the United States does, this gave me a really unique perspective. And it was also something that I got to write about in my college admissions essay. And this was a really great way to say, this is an experience I had which led me to an interest in public health, since I was applying to public health as my major in a lot of the different colleges I was applying to. From this experience as a whole, it really taught me so many lessons about the medical field and public health and what it truly means to be pre-med, which I think that is really important. Because I was getting to shadow these doctors day to day, I really got to see their entire lifestyle. And I think that was something that was a huge factor in determining if I wanted to be pre-med in college or not. I think some kids go through their whole entire undergraduate career, and then at the end of it, they're like, maybe being a doctor isn't for me, just because of the lifestyle, and it can be very challenging. So getting exposed to it at such an early age really put me at such an advantage, because now I know what I want to do. I have experience that I can back with that, and it allowed me to have such a unique perspective when I was writing my essays. Furthermore, the same thing with public health. I had really no hands-on actual experience with public health before. I really had just like the idea of it and the one class that I took on it. So this really enabled me to dive into the legalities of healthcare when I was shadowing the local department and show how a community can come together to solve these huge healthcare issues, which I thought was exciting. So now I have a really good idea of what I want to do with my career, and it led me to my major, Human Biology and Society, which combines both my passions for the medical aspects of healthcare, but also the humanities of and ethics of healthcare. So it was a great learning experience. But other than just the medical and the public health side of things, I really learned crucial lessons on teamwork and collaboration and really grew professionally. Being able to work with these doctors and have such a direct line to a healthcare provider in that way as a mentor really enabled me to grow as a student, grow as a pre-med student, and honestly grow as a person. Being abroad and experiencing a different culture was a huge way to kind of expand my boundaries and go out of my comfort zone a little bit. So this experience as a whole was just so enriching, and if you have the opportunity, I would 100% say go for it. How exactly do you get a similar experience now that you've heard about my experience abroad and how amazing it was, and now know a little bit more about what a medical intern is and what that might entail, what kind of experience you might get from it? So the program that I did specifically was called Gap Medics. Gap Medics is a HOSA Future Healthcare Leaders official global experience partner of 2021, and it is also an overall best study abroad for high school provider. So this was an amazing program. I really got such a unique experience. But however, there are a lot of other programs that will give you a similar experience. Just make sure to research what the responsibilities of their interns are and what their program entails, because all of these experiences can be a little bit different, and really each trip even if you're in the same program, each trip is going to be what you make out of it and the connections you're able to build. So it's really important to look into the program, maybe speak to someone who has done it before so you get an idea of what you're signing up for. However, I would really recommend trying to go abroad, because if you're able to go to a different country, not only are you getting immersed into a healthcare system of another country, but you're also maybe able to speak another language and understand a different culture. So really you get this 2-for-1 experience, both immersed in the medical field and in a new culture and new environment, which I think, in my experience, leads to a lot of personal growth and professional development. However, if you're unable to have these kind of experiences, I know they might be attainable for a lot of high school students. Don't let that discourage you from getting a meaningful shadowing experience. There's a lot of other avenues for getting these hands-on, really immersive hospital setting experiences. One of those ways is reaching out to doctors and asking if they would allow you to shadow them. This can be done by sending them a formal email, which would include your name, your grade, a little bit about you. Really, you want to tailor these to the specific doctor you're asking to shadow, saying why specifically you're interested in their work or their research, and also what relevant experiences you might have. So I know that can sound daunting. This is known as cold emailing, but this can really open so many doors for you. And even if you don't have relevant experience, that can be something as simple as coursework, or something as simple as an interest, an anecdote of why you're interested in their work. Maybe you have a personal connection to it. Maybe you're just very interested in that area of study. But this can really show motivation to the doctor, and a lot of these physicians are really open to allowing students to shadow them because they're encouraging people to go into their field. And also look into hospitals in your area. A lot of hospitals already have set programs for high school shadowing and high school students to have that immersive hospital care experience. This could be something like candy stripers, or even just being a volunteer if you can't get an internship. Showing these hands-on experience, I think, is so crucial to your college application, especially if you're applying to a common pre-med major at a prestigious university like UCLA or any other school. Having this will undoubtedly help you write a stronger essay, because you really have an insight on what it is that you want to do, you have experience with it, and when you're writing, that will shine through in your college admission essay. So the prompt that I responded to was, how did you take advantage of an educational opportunity? And this really allowed me to showcase all the different experiences I got in the Dominican and give concrete examples of why I was interested in what I said I was interested in. I really got to outline, this is what I was able to see, this is what I was able to experience. I now can do this, this, and this in terms of clinical techniques. And I think that showing this dedication so early on into my high school career, my educational journey, really allowed me to have a very strong essay, because they could see with certainty that I had taken advantage of this opportunity I was given, and now I know for certain that I'm interested in becoming a future healthcare provider. It also has helped me so much in college. Like I said, this internship really aided in my professional development and growth as a student at such a young stage in my educational career. So now that I'm in college, it has helped me, since I have this past experience, has helped me gain other internship and opportunities that have been really tremendous. So last summer, I was able to intern at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, which is the #1 pediatric hospital in the Western US. It is a level 1 trauma center. It is a very prestigious hospital. And since I had this unique experience where I got to, like I said before, round in the pediatric ward and I had physician experience in shadowing, I was able to land a very highly coveted and really competitive spot as one of their summer interns. And with that, again, I was able to shadow in this hospital in the United States and get to go in the operating room as well. Practice a lot of the things that I had first been exposed to in my study abroad in high school. And also with this internship, since I knew I was interested in public health as well, I got to intern with their Department of Emergency Management, which is a very unique aspect of public health. And I think this internship really was just a step up from what I did in high school, now that it's at such a prestigious hospital, and a hospital that specializes in what I want to do when I'm older. So this brings me to the end of the video. In this video, we covered what a medical internship is, especially those abroad, why that is so important, and how you can use that to stand out as an applicant and really stand out beyond in college and can really lead to such success. I think that this was such a foundational experience for me. Building off of it and having this as something to put on my resume was such a huge part in my success now. So I hope that you have learned so much from this video and learned so much from my experience. And I hope that you can also use this to gain a similar experience and use that to your advantage in any application that you might have, whether that be for college or even future internships. Thank you so much for watching.